All right, real quick, I guess hitting Michigan State real quick, wrapping our game up. Special team-wise, just hitting some things we thought. Again, Eric Tove coming in for Voss did a nice job. First couple punts were awesome. Didn't have one at the end particularly strong. Did a great job, too, of handling of the placements. And I think sometimes you take that for granted. So, again, was pleased and proud of him. We need him to come through. We'll need him. It looks like Voss is going to be out. I think he's got a hairline break there, lower ankle, so he'll be out for several weeks. So we'll need Eric to keep coming through with that. So good for him. He did a great job, special team on the surprise kick and executed that well. Just something we looked at, and if the situation presented itself, and especially after, they had the celebration penalty. If you didn't get it, it wasn't as risky. Matter of fact, when we kick it out of bounds to open the second half, we give it to them on the 40. If we didn't execute that kick right, they'd have had it on the 37 or 38. So it's really, wasn't really that risky a deal, but it did steal a possession. That's 2 weeks in a row where special teams created some points. Return a week before against Northwestern, and now this one got us into the score zone. We only got 3 out of it. So that was nice. So, again, we got to keep coming special team. We are gaining on it. You're going to play in Big Ten games where a lot of games are close and close plays. Had an opportunity at the end for a loose ball we didn't get. But again, we've got to keep making plays in special team. We're not at a point of breaking even will be good enough for us. We got to keep finding ways to get an edge in special team play, and it's tough. We're challenging our guys. We're putting as many players and some of our best guys out there. But in one possession games and in close games, little things make difference. And special teams play, I think, gets overlooked. So a couple good performances there. Guys that played well in special teams, Eric Tove was our player of the game, coming in like he did. Mark Murphy did a nice job. Matt Dooley, our snapper, always is solid. Stoner and Ewald on the execution of surprise. Antonio Marshall had a big hit on a kick cover that was good special team wise. Defensively, we got, again, in scoring zone, they're 5 for 5, 4 touchdowns and a field goal. You get one more touchdown into a field goal, and it's 27-27. It's a 4-point differential. So, we're yielding too many points, and we've worked a lot, in fringe zone and score zone, and we've worked a lot in third down. Our third down defense was better. They were 35%. We were 65 on stops. That's pretty good, 2 out of 3. That's better than it was the previous 2 weeks when we were at 50%. So we did make some strides third down D, but scoring zone, we got once in a while, for example, we got the surprise kick, but they held us to 3. That's the difference in the game. And we get them down there and get a score zone. We hold one of those drives from 7 to 3, point differential in close games. So we got to keep gaining on that. 0 turnovers created. We're plus in turnover ratio, but we're not creating a lot of turnovers. And we need to keep making strides there. And that's the difficult thing in playing a good team like Michigan State with good players. And when you don't get free possessions and you're playing even with a good team, it's hard. And we got to find ways to get turnovers. We did have 16 missed tackles, which is the most we've had to date. Even though we made some strides defensively, not getting the turnovers or a red zone stop or again, the missed tackles. We did have 6 3-and-outs. I thought our effort defensively was good. And again, the third down defense was decent. Third down defense decent because I think we probably got them in third and long a little bit more than we had in previous weeks too. Defensively, Adam Raplogo is our player of the game. He's playing outstanding for us and really playing relentless and playing hard, and one of our best players, but also just one of our best guys. Great student, great off the field, and he's what we want a Hoosier to look like, represent our football program. He's a special guy. But Adam played well. Griffin Dahlstrom, once again, solid at linebacker. Thought his performance was awesome. Flo Harden as well. On the back end, Heben, Murphy, and then also Ryan Phillips at DN we thought played well. Offensively, we struggled second half, bunch of 3-and-outs, 4 of 15 third downs, plus 5-yard line. We didn't get a TD, and only 45 plays getting positive yards, completed pass or running. So we need to get that up. When you play a good defense, it's hard, but we need more positive plays. Effort was good. Energy first half was awesome. Tempo was awesome. 0 turnovers was good. We had 1 loose ball. Lucky to get that back. D'Angelo put the ball on the ground one time we can't have. But again, we did come out and play a pretty good first half, and that's an awfully good defense. I mean, they hold Boise to 13 and no touchdowns. And Boise's as good as anyone in the country this decade. And Notre Dame and Ohio State are top 10 teams. They hold those guys to 17 and 20. So 27 wasn't enough. It was a good first half. We just need to back it up with a second, and we didn't. Winning performances, several up front. We thought Spriggs and Taylor and Will Maddie were good. Kofi Hughes and Shane Wynn. Our player of the game was Shane Wynn. And on the scout team, guys, Nate Boudreaux did a good job at quarterback, one of our backup quarterbacks last week, and Jake Reed, who's, kind of right now second team, but we'll see how the year goes. We played Jake as a freshman last year. We might redshirt him. He's yet to play, but Jake did a great job, which is good to see. He's back full go, coming off his little minor thing he had early. Defensively, Big Ralph Green and Sean Heffron, two of our D linemen, did great jobs. So that's a little bit of Michigan State, disappointing loss. Same time, moving on to Ohio State, really good. And good program as always, good players, well coached, good challenge. Got them here 8 o'clock. You guys know it. We're off to a good start with 2 good days, and we'll need a good week to play well and keep moving forward, because that's what we're doing. Questions?
When you go against a quarterback like Braxton Miller, how, the dual threat thing, similar to what you dealt with, I guess, in Northwestern, just talk about him, the challenges he kind of presents.
And if you're really good, one of the best things you do when you play against great offense is you keep them off the field. Of course, in our style, for us to be good offensively, we got to play a little bit of tempo to get an edge and get an advantage and make a defense play a little bit of a vanilla. So, turnovers and third down conversions and kicking it well and playing long fields, all those things help, because you don't want to make it easy for a really good offense and a really good player. Same time, dynamically, it's not like we got the team that we're just going to mulch you up, keep you on the sideline, and bleed you to death, and so it's a little bit of a double-edged sword there. What they do offensively, everyone's got their version. They're going to hit you a little bit more downhill with inside zones and some off-tackle power or one-back counter that gets a little bit more north and south, and they'll do it with Braxton. They'll do it with their big back, Carlos Hyde. They have several other backs, one of them from the state of Indiana, Mr. Smith, that's a good player. So they come at you pretty good. What I think is overlooked, as good as Braxton is, and their skills good, receivers, Stoneburner, the tight end's really good, running back, Braxton, but their line's playing good. And when your line plays well, and I was very impressed watching their offensive line against Michigan State. Really thought the way they got together, on combos, worked together, and their pad level, that was good football. And because Michigan State's very difficult to just go right at. And so that being said, they're still learning what they're doing. They're still getting better every week. You can see them making strides. But he's the guy that makes it go because of his ability. He's the best runner on the field. And he's also a guy that can throw the thing. Very seldom do you find guys that really can throw that can run, or guys that really can run that can throw. He's a little bit more of a dynamic runner than a thrower, but he throws the ball well, and you have to commit so many guys up there, a little bit like when you're playing Denard Robinson. Sometimes there are guys, if you get your eye off your target, because you got to commit so many guys to the run, whether you're shadowing or spying him or just canceling gaps and putting people on him. As soon as somebody gets his eyes off a receiver, here comes a play action pass, and you really can get burned. But he's a great player, plays physical for a quarterback. It's going to be a great challenge. It's tough. And that, in no disrespect, is where Trey gives us a little bit of an edge compared to our other 2 quarterbacks. One more threat of a little bit truer run. Now Trey's not the runner that Braxton is, but that's a part of our offense that's kind of went away since his injury.
How much has Myers' offense done for Miller? How much has that changed the game he plays, I guess, having that spread and, taking the ball in the shotgun, stuff like that? How much has that made him maybe more dangerous?
They do a great job, and I know their offensive coaches, their line coach, and know their coordinator, know their line coach really well, and know Coach Meyer, in a reasonable way. But they were doing some of that last year. The thing is, he's year 2, and that's no disrespect to their coaches, because they're well coached and they're doing a good job and doing some different things and taking advantage of his skill set. But year 2, he was going to be better. Last year, he was a true freshman. And he was a very dynamic, true freshman. And he's going to do nothing but you haven't seen, in my opinion, we haven't seen his best, because he's so young. He'll continue to grow, and it's a sign of a great athlete, a great competitor, and a great coaching staff. So hopefully we don't see his best Saturday. But he's a very, very special player. So one, it's credit to Coach Meyer, their staff, yes, and what they're doing in spread. But it's that kid too. I know of that kid, and when you get chances to watch him, I think he's probably one of these dynamic kids, has unbelievable work ethic, drive, desire. He's what you want a great football player to look like. And like I say, they've got a great future for him, and we're trying to emulate that with some of our guys, of what it takes to be a great player. And it's not just the physical skill set. He's developed himself. You watch him set his feet and throw the ball now versus last year. That's coaching, but that's also a kid that's committed to getting better. And he's playing at a good level. He's a great player.
Coach Meyer was asked, I guess, about you in his press conference yesterday. He called you an innovator. He says he steals a lot of your stuff. First, what's it mean to hear that from him? Second, is it kind of mutual? I mean, is he one of those guys that you look at and take things from?
Well, I mean, I always watch everybody's offense, because we're all thieves in coaching. No one comes up, well, I shouldn't say no one, but seldom do you come up, this is your stuff. You're just taking things to fit. So, I mean, that's, I guess, nice. I mean, for him to say that and whatnot, but it's not about me. It's not about him. We knew each other years ago as assistants. And matter of fact, they actually came to visit us at Northwestern after our 2000 year that was pretty good. And then that was the year, the 9/11 tragedy where games got canceled. And then we ended up playing them as a makeup game. We weren't supposed to play them. And we played them. And they actually beat us on the 2-point play that we ran against Northwestern. That was actually the play they ran. Beat us 43-42 in the same end zone. Exact same play. I remember it vividly. But he's had phenomenal success. We had a chance to play against him at Oklahoma once. Again, his deal, and it's nice, it's nice to be an innovator, but I don't know if I'm not an innovator as much as we're trying to teach guys to play hard and play physical. And if you watch Coach Meyer and watch them coach and watch them do things, that's what they're doing. And that's kind of a little bit of the brand of what we're trying to do. It's nice to have schemes or concepts. We had to attack Michigan State last week differently than most people because of our dynamic and our playmakers to give us a chance. So, you don't take your cards and fold your hand in college football. You got to play the cards. And Coach Walker told me a long time ago, every hand's a winning hand. You got to know how to play the cards. Sometimes you're bluffing. Sometimes you got a good hand, but you got to play your cards. And as a coach, that's our job, is to manage the cards, know how to push the bets and hold the bets and when to take and when to fold and how to keep playing as we go. And that's coaching. At the same time, as we coach, it's physicality. And what I like about Coach Meyer is, he's been very innovative in what he does, but there's a brand of football that is toughness and attitude and playing good defense and coming at you. And those are things that I believe, as a line coach, in my background with Coach Walker, which is a background of Coach Mallory, that's still the essence of football. You can window dress it all you want, shift formation, I formation, huddle up, not huddle, 3-man, 4-man, 2 deep quarters. It doesn't matter. It's a physical, combative game, playing hard. And that's what I think he's got going on at Ohio State now. And that's where we're getting to at our place, is bringing the physicality and toughness. And to me, it's nice to be, quote, thinking you're innovative, and his offenses is one of the premier. But if you cut all the window dressing out, there's fundamentals and basics that win, and that's what they do at Ohio State. And that's what we're trying to get done here. Is that it?
You mentioned win at the beginning. I got more. You mentioned win at the beginning, basically. How have you seen him develop this year? What's made Shane win? I'm sorry. What's just made him just better this year, basically, how has he kind of just developed as a receiver?
I thought he'd have a bigger year than he's had. Matter of fact, the week goes like, where were you? And then this game, of course, sometimes it's throws and calls. But he is small, and and his ability, sometimes he has great, he's a tremendous competitor. He is tough. He is very quick and fast. He plays bigger than he is as far as in the pass game. At the same time, I actually think we can get more out of him if he keeps learning, growing. He needs to be a dynamic player in what we're doing, and he's been close to that. And some weeks he's been, hadn't been as dynamic, just hadn't showed. And sometimes it's play call, sometimes it's coverage. But he's a guy that we need to get involved in the offense. And he had a nice game last game. A little bit was the way we attacked that defense. But I was disappointed a couple weeks ago when I looked at numbers and I didn't see his numbers showing up. So not that we design plays to get guys the ball, but you'd like to keep him involved because he can make plays for us. So it was nice to see that. And I would have told you for the year his numbers would actually be bigger than they are right now. Not down on him. I really was thinking he and Cody were really going to come through big this year, and they're doing pretty good. I actually thought and think it needs to be bigger than it is.
What you liked about when you recruited him in the first place, but when you look for a guy that little, do you like having a guy with that's small and speedy in your offense? Is important to have a guy like that as an inside receiver?
Double edge. You're playing last week Michigan State backers, and anytime a run comes at him, he's physically in a mismatch in a block game. Same time, he's a mismatch in coverage, so it's a double-edged sword. So you pick your spots, you pick your battles. The smaller the guy, the more dynamic he better be. He better have great hands, and he better have great speed. Don't be small and okay speed with good quickness. Don't be small and be an average route runner. The smaller you are, the more dynamic you have to be. And he was a very dynamic high school player. I don't think we've seen him at a college level that what we need to get him to. He's still learning. He's still growing. He's developing, and he's doing good.
As a coaching staff, to see the players continue to develop from a competitiveness standpoint, just being able to keep up that attitude that you've been kind of pushing on him since you got here?
Well, we talked about it today, and again, we don't like the results of what's happened, but irregardless of results, our deal's about we got to keep getting better every day, and not better as a football player, not better as a football team. We got to get better as a student, as a person, as a man, in relationships with people, being a good, son, having a good relationship with your girlfriend, whatever we're doing, we got to be, spiritually, whatever we're doing, we got to be getting better. And right now, when things aren't going, there's a lot of things in your life that happen that you don't like. Don't go your way. Don't get the job I wanted, or the raise I wanted, or the promotion I wanted, or don't get the girlfriend I wanted, whatever. Things happen in your life. How do you deal with it? And our deal is by getting better every day. And we've had some shortcomings on the scoreboard. I was just talking to a guy at lunch. I go, there's scoreboards out there. Just not all of them are visible. But scores being kept, and there's a time clock running. And fortunately for us on Saturday, it's vivid out there, and it says 0-0, and it's a final score, and that's a segment of our life that's over that we're trying to win. We haven't got the W's, but I've been saying for weeks, I think our team's getting better. And I like in this, and now I'm worried about a little bit of a challenge, not a tough loss, or not it was close. Most of you guys didn't think it'd be close anyway. I thought we had a good chance to win that one, and we didn't do a good job to get the W. And I think our kids thought we could get that W. We went out and went after that game. That's what you got to do. We're learning how to attack. We're learning how to play Big Ten football. We're learning how to give our best. If you keep doing that, good things are going to happen. Negativity around here, we always come up, no. That was the first time at my time there was a good team that we went after and played good football. Had a shot. Didn't get it done. Let's learn, let's grow, but let's keep coming. It's not about getting close. It's not about doing our best and being short. That was our best, and now our best needs to keep getting better. That is the motto or the foundation of what we're building. A little bit better every day, and not just in football. A little bit stronger, taking care of my body, growing as a person, a little bit better every day, keep adding up, and good things happen. And we've been selling that for a while. I truly believe we're getting better every day. Scoreboards are going to happen in time, but right now with some negatives, we got to keep fighting the fight of getting better. That's what we're trying hard as coaches and leaders to do for our team.
What's Kofi's status for this week?
Well, if he was a horse, they'd have shot him. Now, he's lucky he's not equestrian, because a greedy vet would have took him out the other day. I mean, he would have been long gone. He's got a bruise, a little limited right now. We'll see as it goes. But I say God bless that God made him a man instead of an equestrian, because he might be down right now. But he's got a bruise, doesn't have a, we thought it was it's a back deal. He got hit in the back on a deal, helmet to the back, or it actually looked like a shoulder. Didn't look like kind of a glancing blow. But I think he'll be okay. He's been a little limited first 2 days. Well, he'll need to get a good go tomorrow and get rolling Thursday to get in rhythm, get up the sink. So he should be good.
After the game about Bolzer that he wouldn't play next week, is that a Big Ten rule or is that your rule?
Well, typically where I was from, if you were ejected from a game, you were out the next game. And when they throw you out of a game, I thought that was the rule. I just thought that was the rule. Is that not the rule? Well, if you're ejected, is it not? I always thought if you're ejected, you're out. You're out for, if it happens early, it's, if it happens in the first half, you're out this half and the first of the next one. Maybe that's the fighting rule. I'm thinking of fighting, but they said, he punched or he swung or something, so I'm thinking you're ejected for fighting. So that's always been a one-game suspension. If it happens in the second half, you miss the whole next game. If it happened in the first half, it was the second half and the first half. And so that was my deal. Now they looked at it. There wasn't a whole lot to it. It was a play where, the play got blown dead. No one got in there quickly and then everybody starts scrumming for a ball. It didn't truly affect the game as far as we never got back on offense, so Ted not being there wasn't an issue. I do appreciate the fact that the guy, Mr. Carrillo, that's in charge of the referees, called me right away, said they'd look at it. He didn't think, didn't understand what, but he looked into it, and from what they saw, they're letting Ted play, and we appreciate that. I know Ted does, because Ted's just from Ohio. He's got a boatload of people from Cincinnati. This is a big game for him, which is a big game for everybody, but, selfishly in Ted's world, it would have been a bummer to miss it, and again, it was just a play that didn't get shut down right away, but there was no swinging or hitting or a fight or language or out of control, and I just appreciate the fact that the way it got looked at, gives him a chance. So I can't really talk about referees, because it wasn't a bad deal other than they just made a decision that didn't penalize him moving forward. And I guess me for assuming the bad word, but when you're ejected, in my world, I thought he was out, and that was kind of a bummer. But I'm glad we've got him, and I'm glad for Ted, because being from Ohio, like last year, Cody Latimer last year, this game, was kind of fighting through a sports hernia, aggravated it Monday of this game a year ago, couldn't play against the Buckeyes. He's from Dayton. That's a big game for those guys. Every time you get a chance to play in a Big Ten game, it's a big game. And it was tough. He missed that one. So I'm just glad, selfishly for Ted, it's good he has a chance to play against his home state school.
Tell you about that play. I mean, nothing.
From Ohio had a pretty good ball game over there in Columbus last year. Any chance that
Still had not practiced coming off his neck deal, so until he gets going, and he's missed enough. My opinion now, it's going to take him maybe a little bit while to get his feet back because he's missed 3-4 weeks now with that deal. So still, he's running, doing things, but he's not got the range of motion where our doctors have cleared him to strike.
Halves where you combined for 56 points, and those are sandwiched by 2 scoreless halves. Where's that? Do you have a finger on where that inconsistency is coming from, and how do you find that?
Again, I just think it's easy to be a little bit off. Execution, play call, line of scrimmage, quarterback, all guys in sync, protection, run, perimeter blocking when you're running, protection when you're throwing, quarterback making decision, routes. I mean, it's just takes a little bit to be off. And when you're playing a good defense, and the last 2 teams, we played 2 teams that were decent defensively, and one of them extremely good. Those guys Saturday are pretty good. I mean, you don't hold boys without a touchdown being them, just showing up. And, I mean, they're really, really, really good. And so to get what we could and work those was I mean, we got a chance, but just I think it's a lack of maturity, focus. I don't know. It's not a pep talk. I mean, and there were plays we did in the second half, same plays we did in the first half, but the ball didn't get delivered or the running game wasn't quite as good. They were going to make it difficult to run. And that was tough, too, because you want to try to work the clock because you're up. But a part of our deal, if we're not going fast, we're struggling against you. We got to go fast. So you're sitting there. How do you balance that? You got to work the clock, make the game slow. You go slow, they're teeing off coming at us. You go fast, you don't execute. It's 30, 40 seconds, and the defense is back out there. So it was a little, against a good defense, it's a little bit harder than we needed it to manage. So I wish, it's a magic wand, magic potion. There's plays that we're doing that just sometimes work, sometimes don't, and it's just 11 guys playing as one. And when we click as one, we're not great, but we're pretty good. But when one guy's a little off, we can be enough to get out of the rhythm, get 3rd and long. You play against a good defense, you're playing uphill. And that'll be Saturday. You get a little bit off against this defense, you're playing uphill, you got your hands full.
The way Darius Rayner played, first extended action, I think it was a sack and 2 pass breakups.
Again, he's been playing. We kind of rotate those cats in there. And, we need to get Alex Todd going a little bit, too, in there. We played him as a freshman. So we've always played a bunch of those guys. Adam, to me, is the one guy clearly playing better. But even though Larry and Sliger are seniors, we need to play Alex and Darius as freshmen because you look at productivity, it's about the same. So no disrespect to those other 2 guys, but I think we need to keep playing those guys. And I think the more he plays, he doesn't play last fall. He had an academic glitch with his transcript. He wasn't eligible till spring. So he's really like a true freshman. Now, he's been here for a year, getting bigger, stronger. He was a high school DM. We moved to tackle. So I think he's like Flo Harden, going from safety to linebacker. I think he's like those JC guys. He's now got about a half a season of truly playing a position, and I think he's just learning how to play and getting better.
You talked about your up-tempo style, and it seems like teams across the country are playing faster. Do you think that's here to stay in college football, or how do you see that playing out?
Everybody's got their own dynamic. If you could just line up and just hammer people and play old school, and which is what we did the bulk of 9-10 years at Miami of Ohio, and play good defense and play old school. But certain schools just don't have it. Certain schools run in wishbone because that's their style and gives them their niche. We've gotten into gun. There's gun dynamic quarterback runners. There's gun teams passing at a high level. And the tempos involved, Coach Stoops used it to me when he said, why don't you go back to do it? It's just number of at-bats. The more at-bats you get, but to get at-bats, you've got to convert 3rd downs and not turn it over. So the real deal of offensive football is conversions. It's 3rd down conversions, keeping the drive alive, and it's scoring conversions. Defensively, we did not get any scoring non-conversions the other day. Or offensively, we got on the 5 and didn't convert a touchdown. And those are conversions that get you beat. We're 4 of 15 on 3rd down. That's less than 1 out of 3. That's going to get you beat. So in our deal, the tempo, we're trying to go fast enough. It discourages the rush. We protected. We had one sack the other day. It was on a quick sprint out where we did it to never get a sack anyway. Couldn't believe we got one. The quarterback wasn't there and held on to it and got sacked you don't even get sacked on this play. But some of the times you're doing those things to make a defensive vanilla up, get them kind of in base, because the word defense means defend. Offensive means attack. And for 20 years, most offenses have reacted to defenses. Defenses no longer play box in, defensive ends, boxing to play in. Everybody wrong arms and spills and makes things go sideways. Safeties don't back up. The word defensive back does not exist because most people don't back up. They don't defend the back. They're on their toes coming forward, and they're attacking, and so, pro football plays some true cover two. College safeties are standing right beside linebackers on their toes. Sometimes you're playing against a 5-3 or a 5-4. And like last week, you were playing against a 9-man box with 2 corners playing lock. So you were not going to run the football. It's almost like they were like Canadian geese lined up in a row in a V. There's 9 of them taking away the middle of the field and using the sideline as a 12th defender. So the real deal to me about the offense is we control snap count, we control play, knowing what the play is. That being said, you also can't control the tempo. You're at the mercy of referees and how they spot the ball. Substitutions. When you substitute, the defense is allowed to substitute. So you cannot go fast and get an advantage. You have to be inside the numbers before the ball is put in play. So you can't have the trick gimmick, slip a guy down the sideline, or you can't go from little guys and then run your big people out there as fast as you can, because as soon as you change, they come over the ball and say, okay, you have a right to match up. So it's kind of fair the way it is. It's just like playing fast break basketball. Do you want to take it and attack, or do you want to pull it up and set up a play? And right now, a year ago, we slowed down to help our defense, but it still didn't matter. We died a slow death. I thought this year we need to be more aggressive, because to help our defense, we need to take care of the ball, kick it well, and we need to score as many points. In several weeks, I've said the issue is we have not scored enough. I thought to win that game, we needed mid-30s. We were 27.5, and we set on it, and that wasn't enough to win that game. Anything else? Appreciate it, guys. Have a good week.